Have you ever wondered why political divisions in the United States seem deeper than ever? Today, we're diving into why U.S. politics is more polarized than ever. Political polarization impacts everything from everyday conversations to the functioning of our government. Understanding its roots is crucial for civic dialogue. First, let's define what we mean by political polarization. It's the divergence of political attitudes to ideological extremes, pushing people away from the center. Today's polarization is extreme, marked by a widening gap between the two major parties and increasing animosity between their members, often called, quote, affective polarization. There are several key factors fueling this intense division. We'll explore the complex interplay of demographics, media, and institutional dynamics. One factor is geographic self-sorting. People are increasingly moving to areas where others share similar political and social views, creating homogeneous communities. We've also seen a decline in moderate politicians and a breakdown of cross-party cooperation, making compromise in Congress a rarity. The digital age and changes in media consumption have dramatically accelerated polarization. This is one of the most significant modern drivers. The rise of partisan media outlets means many people primarily consume news that confirms their existing beliefs, leading to echo chambers that reinforce division. Social media algorithms often prioritize emotionally charged content, amplifying extreme or divisive views over moderate ones to maximize engagement. Deeper societal and economic shifts also contribute to political polarization, creating fault lines based on wealth and culture. Growing income inequality creates differing economic anxieties, often translated into partisan political solutions that further divide the electorate. Cultural clashes, particularly between urban and rural populations regarding values and identity politics, fuel intense, often moralized, political conflict. Structural issues within the U.S. electoral system itself exacerbate polarization, rewarding extreme positions over consensus building. Gerrymandering creates safe districts where politicians only fear a primary challenge, incentivizing them to appeal exclusively to their base rather than the political center. Primary elections often see lower turnout, dominated by highly ideological voters, ensuring that candidates who are ideologically pure move forward. So what can be done about this widening chasm in American politics? The path forward requires a multi-pronged approach. The key drivers include media echo chambers, economic inequality, geographic sorting, and systemic electoral incentives that favor ideological extremes. Addressing polarization requires reforming electoral rules, promoting media literacy, and fostering genuine dialogue across divides. The future of U.S. politics depends on it. Have you ever wondered how major decisions are actually made inside the most powerful office in the world? We're taking you inside the White House to uncover the process. From national security crises to domestic policy shifts, the decisions made here shape the nation and the world. But it's far from a simple process. White House decision-making is a complex web, involving numerous advisors, agencies, and layers of review. It's designed to ensure thoroughness and minimize risk. Before diving into the steps, let's understand the key players and the formal structures that govern how information flows and decisions are structured. At the heart of the system is the executive branch, which includes the president, the executive office of the president, and various cabinet-level departments. Ultimately, the president is the one who bears the responsibility and makes the final call. Every decision reflects their judgment and vision. The president relies heavily on the chief of staff, who acts as the gatekeeper, controlling access and ensuring the president's priorities are maintained. The inner circle of senior advisors is also crucial. Effective decision-making starts with comprehensive and accurate input. The White House operates under immense pressure to gather the best information possible. The president receives daily intelligence briefings, often face-to-face, covering global threats and emerging issues. Cabinet secretaries provide specialized expertise on their respective domains. Structured bodies like the National Security Council and the Domestic Policy Council coordinate input from various agencies, ensuring all relevant perspectives are considered before moving forward. Once information is gathered, the process moves into policy development. This is where options are formulated and potential impacts are analyzed. Staffers work tirelessly to draft detailed policy papers, outlining multiple options for the president, often including pros and cons, cost estimates, and legal analysis for each path. The debate and vetting process is critical. Advisors challenge each other's assumptions, often leading to heated but necessary discussions to refine policy recommendations. After all the analysis and debate, it comes down to the president to choose a path forward. Senior advisors present the vetted options to the president, summarizing the arguments and potential outcomes. This meeting is often highly focused and brief. The president absorbs the information, asks clarifying questions, and then makes the decision, often marking a significant moment in the history of the administration. A decision isn't final until it is effectively implemented and communicated, both within the government and to the public. Implementation involves drafting executive orders, policy directives, and ensuring all agencies understand their roles and responsibilities in executing the new policy. Finally, the White House must communicate the decision clearly to the public and stakeholders, often through press briefings and presidential addresses, to shape understanding and build welcome. Today, we're diving into the major political issues that are currently creating deep divisions across the United States. The political landscape in the U.S. is often characterized by significant polarization, driven by fundamental disagreements on key policy areas. Political polarization has intensified, making it challenging for leaders and citizens to find common ground and compromise on critical national issues. These divisions stem from differing ideologies on the role of government, economic equality, social values, and the nation's future direction. One of the most persistent areas of conflict revolves around the economy and the appropriate level of social welfare. Debates rage over tax structures, specifically who should pay how much, and what constitutes a fair distribution of wealth in the nation. The government's role in healthcare, education, and providing a robust social safety net remains a core ideological divide between political sides. Climate change and energy policy present another profound and often contentious area of disagreement. There is a deep split on the severity and urgency of climate change, with different factions emphasizing either economic stability or environmental protection. Conflicts arise over the nation's energy future, pitting continued reliance on fossil fuels against massive investment in renewable energy sources like wind and solar. Immigration and border security remain a constant flashpoint, touching on both humanitarian concerns and national sovereignty. Key divisions exist over creating pathways to citizenship for undocumented immigrants versus strict enforcement and deportation policies. Debates over border security measures, including physical barriers, technology, and staffing levels, highlight fundamental differences in approach. The issue of gun control is perhaps one of the most emotional and firmly entrenched divisions in American politics. The conflict centers on balancing the constitutional right to bear arms with the urgent need to address gun violence and ensure public safety. Proposals for stricter gun regulations, such as universal background checks, are fiercely opposed by those who prioritize protecting existing Second Amendment rights. The foundational principles of democracy, specifically voting rights and election integrity, have become major sources of political conflict. Disputes focus on voter access measures, such as early voting and mail-in ballots, versus stringent identification requirements and purging voter rolls. Polarization is further exacerbated by profound disagreements and distrust surrounding election security and the legitimacy of results. These key issues illustrate the breadth and depth of the political chasm facing the United States today. The complexity of the current political landscape requires a deeper understanding of these differing viewpoints to move forward as a nation. Bridging these divides will require dialogue, respect, and a willingness to search for solutions that benefit all Americans. Welcome. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful, yet often opaque, forces shaping American democracy: lobbying. How does it truly influence U.S. politics? Lobbying is an integral part of the political process in Washington, D.C., but its practices and consequences are constantly debated. First, let's define what we mean. Lobbying is the act of lawfully attempting to influence the actions, policies, or decisions of government officials, most often legislators or members of regulatory agencies. This influence is primarily exerted by special interest groups, large corporations, nonprofits, and unions who hire professionals to represent their interests to the government. Lobbyists use several key mechanisms to gain access and influence policy decisions. These methods range from financial support to direct communication. One of the most visible mechanisms is financial contributions, often funneled through political action committees, or PACs, which support campaigns of favorable candidates. Lobbyists also engage in direct contact, providing lawmakers and their staff with research, policy analysis, and, crucially, access to industry expertise when drafting legislation. Beyond the halls of Congress, lobbyists mobilize public support through grassroots campaigns or target key community leaders in what's known as quote, grass stops campaigns to sway opinion. The goal of all this influence is to shape policy. Let's look at the concrete outcomes and the areas of legislation most effective. Lobbying can directly influence the fine print of bills and regulations, often resulting in favorable tax codes, relaxed environmental standards, or specific subsidies for certain industries. Policy areas like healthcare, financial services, energy, and defense contracting are notably saturated with lobbying efforts, leading to policies that reflect the interests of wealthy stakeholders. Given the potential for undue influence, there are laws intended to ensure transparency and regulate lobbying activities. Federal laws, such as the Lobbying Disclosure Act, require lobbyists to register and regularly disclose who they lobby for, the issues they work on, and how much they are paid. Despite existing regulations, ethical debates persist, particularly concerning the revolving door phenomenon, where former government officials become lobbyists. Reform advocates argue for stricter rules to restore public trust. Lobbying is a reality of American politics, a process both protected by the First Amendment and constantly criticized for undermining the democratic principle of one person, one vote. Ultimately, lobbying weaves together the threads of economics and politics, ensuring that organized, well-funded interests have a robust voice in policy formation at every level of government. Understanding lobbying's pervasive influence is crucial for an informed citizenry. It forces us to ask, are our elected officials serving the public interest or the interests of those who fund their actions? Welcome. Today we're diving into the history and influence of the most powerful political dynasties in America. Political dynasties are families that maintain power across generations, shaping the direction of the country. But how do these families achieve and sustain such influence? A political family is defined by multiple members holding significant political office or maintaining deep influence over policy and governance across multiple generations. These families often carry a legacy, providing continuity, resources, and established networks that are crucial in the demanding world of American politics. We begin with one of the most iconic political families, the Kennedys, known for their captivating public image and tragic history. From President John F. Kennedy to Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy and Senator Ted Kennedy, the family held major roles, dominating the Democratic Party for decades. Their legacy is one of public service, often associated with liberal politics, civil rights, and ambitious federal programs like the Peace Corps. Next, we turn to the Bush family, a powerful dynasty in the Republican Party with deep roots in American business and governance. The Bushes produced two U.S. presidents, George H.W. Bush, the 41st president, and his son, George W. Bush, the 43rd president, a rare feat in American history. Beyond the presidency, other family members held important positions like governors, ambassadors, and key roles within the national security apparatus. Stepping further back in time, the Roosevelt family stands out for its extraordinary impact and bipartisan presence in the highest office. The Roosevelts gave the nation two presidents from two different parties: Theodore Roosevelt, a Republican, and Franklin D. Roosevelt, a Democrat, underscoring their broad political reach. Their influence defined eras, with Theodore's progressive policies and Franklin D.'s New Deal fundamentally reshaping modern American government and society. While the Kennedys, Bushes, and Roosevelts are prominent, many other families have left an indelible mark on American politics. For instance, the Adams family, from the Founding Fathers era, produced two early presidents, John Adams and John Quincy Adams. More modern examples include families like the Clintons, with a president and a senator, and the McCains, with multiple generations of distinguished public servants. In summary, political families are a pervasive and enduring feature of the American political landscape. Their continued presence ensures that influence, connections, and public recognition are often inherited, defining much of American governance. Whether for continuity or controversy, the story of America's powerful political families is far from over. Have you ever wondered what exactly happens during a government shutdown? It's a term you hear in the news, but the real-world consequences can be complex and far-reaching. Let's break it down. A government shutdown in the United States affects millions of federal employees, public services, and the national economy. Understanding the mechanics is key to grasping its impact. In simple terms, a government shutdown occurs when Congress fails to pass legislation known as appropriations bills, which authorize government spending for the next fiscal year. This lapse means most non-essential government functions must cease, The core reason for a shutdown is a political impasse. If Congress cannot agree on the spending levels or policy riders included in the appropriations bills, the necessary funding authority expires, triggering the shutdown. The moment a shutdown begins, the immediate effects are felt across the country, primarily impacting the federal workforce and the services they provide. One of the most drastic immediate actions is the furloughing of non-essential federal employees. They are sent home without pay and instructed not to work until funding is restored. However, essential services continue to operate. This includes critical functions like national security, military operations, mail delivery, and air traffic control. These employees generally work without pay during the shutdown, receiving back pay once it ends. For agencies deemed non-essential, operations largely halt. This leads to a cascade of service disruptions that touch many aspects of public life. Many public amenities managed by the federal government close. This includes the popular national parks, museums, and national monuments, impacting tourism and recreational activities. Essential government services like processing tax refunds, small business loans, housing permits, and various applications often grind to a halt or face severe delays, frustrating businesses and citizens alike. Government oversight, regulatory activities, and long-term scientific research are also reduced or paused. This can create uncertainty and temporary operational gaps in crucial sectors. The financial fallout from a government shutdown extends far beyond Washington, D.C., affecting local communities and the broader national economy. Furloughed federal workers lose their regular paychecks, creating immediate financial hardship for their families, even if they are promised back pay later. This sudden income loss affects their ability to pay bills. Businesses that rely on government contracts and services, including small businesses, face payment delays and contract halts, which can threaten their own operations and solvency. Reduced consumer spending by affected federal employees and uncertainty in the broader economy lead to a measurable dip in overall economic activity, often impacting GDP growth. Beyond the immediate disruption, recurring shutdowns can have lasting negative consequences on the efficiency and reputation of the federal government. Repeated shutdowns severely damage employee morale, leading to staff turnover in critical positions and impacting the operational readiness of various government agencies. In summary, a government shutdown is more than just a political maneuver. It's a massive logistical and economic disruption that underscores the complexity and fragility of governance. The next election is approaching, and its outcome will undoubtedly shape the trajectory of the United States. What does the future hold? We are on the brink of a new chapter. Join us as we explore the potential paths America might take following the upcoming national election. This election isn't just about choosing leaders. It's about setting the course for national policies, social priorities, and America's role on the global stage. This discussion is strictly nonpartisan. We are focusing on potential policy shifts and long-term trends, regardless of who wins. The economy remains a central concern. Different administrations will likely pursue vastly different strategies to address growth, inflation, and debt. Expect major debates over tax policy. Will we see higher corporate taxes to fund social programs, or cuts aimed at boosting private investment and individual income? Infrastructure spending is often a bipartisan topic, but the scale and focus will differ. Priorities could range from modernizing existing systems to investing heavily in green energy technology. Trade policy will certainly see changes. Future leadership will define America's approach to tariffs, trade agreements, and competition with global economic powers. Beyond economics, the election outcome will profoundly influence social and cultural landscapes, affecting the lives of all Americans. Healthcare access and affordability remain key issues. We could see moves toward expanding public options, or shifts focusing on private market solutions and deregulation. The next administration will inherit a complex immigration system. Policy changes could range from strict border enforcement to comprehensive reform and new pathways to citizenship. The direction of the Supreme Court and federal judiciary will be shaped by future appointments, impacting decisions on key constitutional rights and policy disputes for decades to come. America's foreign policy and global alliances are set for a potential reset, redefining our relationships with allies and adversaries. Will the focus be on multilateral engagement and rebuilding global alliances, or a more isolationist approach emphasizing America first and bilateral agreements? Future energy policy will determine the speed of the transition to renewable sources, affecting job markets, economic costs, and global climate commitments. Regardless of the winner, the next 4 years will be characterized by significant challenges and opportunities across all sectors. The nation's progress relies on unity, civil discourse, and a shared commitment to democratic values, even when we disagree on policy. We encourage everyone to stay informed, participate in the civic process, and make their voice heard. The future of America is in our... Have you ever wondered how American elections really work? It's a complex process, but we're here to break it down for you. From voter registration to the Electoral College, understanding the electoral system is crucial for every engaged citizen. The American electoral system is built on a foundation of federalism, meaning elections are managed at both the federal and state level. The U.S. holds various types of elections, including presidential, congressional, and state or local elections, each with its own importance. Before you can cast a vote, you need to be registered. Voter registration is the official process of enrolling to vote in elections. Generally, to vote in the U.S., you must be a U.S. citizen, at least 18 years old, and meet your state's residency requirements. Voter registration ensures election integrity and is your legal gateway to participate in democracy. Don't miss the deadline. The election process kicks off with primaries and caucuses, long before the general election. The main purpose of primaries and caucuses is for political parties to select the candidates who will represent them in the general election. Primaries are similar to general elections with private ballots, while caucuses involve public discussions and voting in local meetings. The general election is where the final candidates for various offices compete to win, typically in November. Political campaigns play a massive role, informing the public, mobilizing voters, and raising funds to spread their message. You have options for voting: in person on Election Day, early voting, or through a mail-in ballot, depending on your state's laws. The Electoral College is a critical and often debated component of the presidential election process. It's the system that elects the president and vice president, not just the popular vote nationwide. Each state gets a number of electoral votes based on its total number of representatives in Congress. Most states use a winner-take-all system. Once voting closes, the counting process begins, followed by the crucial step of certifying the results. Electoral officials rigorously count ballots, and states officially certify the results, which is key to finalizing the election. A hallmark of American democracy is the peaceful and orderly transfer of power from one administration to the next, regardless of the outcome. From the early caucuses to the final certification, the American election process is a year-long journey. We've covered the different types of elections, the importance of registration, the roles of primaries, the general election, and the Electoral College. Understanding this process empowers you to participate fully. Make sure your voice is heard in every election.